Welcome to the Transportation Sales Tax Program, also called RoadWise. Today we're going to be talking about minority contractors, but it's a lot more than that. We're going to be talking with a young man who has his own business. He's been working with the County of Charleston for a number of years now, and he's been in the area of design, and he's really a sharp guy. And maybe some of you listening, young folks who are listening, and want to get into this area of business, you can do that after you hear him. So we encourage you not to go away. We'll be right back.
Hey, Charleston County, let's recycle. Charleston County makes it easy. Recycling glass, aluminum cans, steel and aerosol cans, plastics 1 to 7. We recycle them all. And don't forget paper. If it tears, recycle it. Even cardboard. Recycle at work, at home, and at play. So whether you're using the 2 curbside bin system and separating, or the all-in-one roll cart system, keep recycling. Brought to you by Charleston County Environmental Management.
Welcome back to the Transportation Sales Tax Program. I'm Cheryl Harleston. We're going to introduce you to a young man who has been in business for a while, and he's involved with the half-cent sales tax program. As a matter of fact, he's been with the program for about 6 years. You know, there is an aspect of the Transportation Sales Tax Program that encourages young people, minorities, those who are talented and able to do the work. And I'd like you to meet one of those people. His name is Adrian Williams, and he is president of Atlantic South Consulting Services. Yes. Welcome to our program.
Thank you, Cheryl.
It is good seeing you.
It's good to be here.
My church member as well.
Yes.
We're doing a lot together, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
Well, it is good to see you, but you're in a good example of how young people, and you're maybe not so young anymore, but how young people are getting into business and getting into their own business.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Is it difficult to do? Is it difficult to come from training, college, and that kind of thing, and then jump into a business and have it work?
Well, it is difficult depending on the effort that you put forth. If it's something that's in your heart, and you're really interested in it, and you really have the desire to succeed, it's not as hard. It's just putting yourself in the right place with the right people and getting some folks, a mentor, someone to help you put your program together.
What about the Transportation Sales Tax Program? How long have you been with it?
I've been with it since about 6 years when it started, from conception.
And what do you do exactly?
We do engineering design, civil site design for some of your projects, your road projects, sideway, drainage projects, and we also do construction inspection. A lot of your major projects that have gone on in the area, we have had folks out doing the actual inspection of the construction site.
Is it difficult to get involved with a program like this?
No, it isn't. It's being able to reach out when the opportunities are made available to you, and touching bases with the right folks, and getting yourself out there and getting yourself known.
You know, this might be offensive to some people, but I know it won't be to you, and it certainly hasn't been to me. I've been in your same position, except with television, years and years ago, where the government insisted that minorities, including African Americans and women and Hispanics and all the other groups become involved, and if they get a share of the monies that are being spent.
Right.
Is that something that, is that an insult to you?
It's not an insult, it's an opportunity to show the value that I could bring to the project and to the work that we've done. We come in and we don't, we do utilize the opportunity that's afforded as a minority company, but at the same time, we come in with a value that's added to whoever we're working with, the team that we're involved with, or to the actual owner itself. And
how important is it to do a really good job? And do you have to extend yourself beyond a non-minority, do you think?
Yes, it's absolutely a must to do a good job. Yes, we're not perfect. We do make mistakes, but you have to be able to back up all your work. Your effort that you put forth has to be more than 100%. And working with some of your larger firms and larger groups, it's a plus for them also.
Now, are you usually, and other minorities that you know of, are they usually in a subcontractors or sub-consultant position, or are they primary? Are they in charge of the project?
Well, we started off working with Roadwise as a prime, but we teamed up with another smaller firm to build our capabilities. So we had the capacity to do the projects that Roadwise was putting out. Majority of the work that we do it's sub-consultant work. We are subbing to some of the larger firms for value, as I said, and also to help with the minority aspect of the project.
When you sub with a larger firm, what ultimately is your goal as a businessman?
Ultimately, the goal is to build what I call our resume, our menu of things that we can provide to owners and developers and other municipalities that we can eventually go out on ourselves and compete with some of the larger firms.
So, in other words, you want to take a step up and be the prime.
Oh, of course. Of course.
Is that what it's about?
That is exactly what it's about. It's about building a business and helping others, helping other minorities grow with us. You know, we're bringing in employers, helping other young minorities see the vision and see it in action, help them, get in their mind that, hey, I can do this too.
Have you been successful in your way of thinking?
We have. We
Yes.
have.
You've done a number of projects for the county.
We've done it. Oh, wow. I can't even think.
And for others as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not just Charleston County, the city of Charleston. We're doing work now in the city of Columbia also. So we're growing. We're actually getting ready to open office in Columbia.
Well, that's wonderful. What is your idea about young people, especially, getting involved in this kind of work? I mean, where do you start? What's the beginning? And then how do you know when you're successful? So where do you get started with this?
Well, I think you get started more in your middle school age and try to go meet with some of the youth at that age and let them see that you can be successful in this field. And what we've done is we've even gone out to the college level. We brought in interns during the summers, and for the past 5 summers we've had an intern, and actually we have one in mind that we're actually going to hire when he graduates this year.
So what's in him or her that you see that's valuable?
I see that he's a worker. He's driven, and he wants to be successful in what he does.
As a designer for a project, what do you do? I mean, if you're working on maybe a sidewalk project,
Yes.
let's say, and you've done some of those.
Yes.
What do you have to do as part of that? And how do you put together your ideas and pass it along to the contractor and make sure that he or she does in fact develop the project in the way that you had laid it out and were thinking about?
Right. Well, the first step is getting the concept from the owner, trying to understand what they are really looking for, and then taking that concept from the ground up and designing it so that it's something that's viable, something that's safe, and something that's cost effective. When we're looking at it, the key to it is to make sure that it is cost effective. And again, at the end of the day, the contractor can put in a project that will benefit everyone at the end.
We're going to be looking at some of the projects that Adrian has been involved in over the years, and we're going to find out where he is going from here. You never stop with this kind of work, and it looks like the federal government is going to be providing more and more dollars to improve our infrastructure, and I know he'll be right in there on it. We'll be right back in just a moment with more.
Hey, Charleston County, let's recycle. Charleston County makes it easy. Recycling glass, aluminum cans, steel and aerosol cans, plastics 1 to 7. We recycle them all. And don't forget paper. If it tears, recycle it. Even cardboard. Recycle at work, at home, and at play. So whether you're using the 2 curbside bin system and separating, or the all-in-one roll cart system, keep recycling. Brought to you by Charleston County Environmental Management.
Welcome back to the Transportation Sales Tax Program, sometimes called Roadwise. I'm Cheryl Harleston. We're talking with Adrian, and he has told us that he feels it's very important that young people like himself bring others into what he's doing and what they should be doing. And he gives some good advice here. And I hope that there are some folks who are listening right now who can impart to their family members, or if you're someone who's interested in going into business for yourself, especially the area of road improvements, infrastructure improvements, that this gentleman can, of course, be a good example for you. Before we went to the break, we were talking about some of the projects that you've done, and I want everyone to know that, in fact, the county work that you do under the transportation sales tax program is just one phase or one aspect
Yes.
of what you're doing.
Yes.
But you're not just sitting around waiting for those projects to happen.
No.
You're all over the place, and you're getting more businesses, and you're teaming up with people.
Yes.
Partnerships and all that kind of thing is important, isn't it?
It is important for especially a smaller company. It's coming out as a smaller company, it's hard to compete with the larger companies who's been around for years, who's been established for years. We're trying to build that foundation to build off and to grow from.
Now, the transportation sales tax program has led you into a number of projects. One that I remember very specifically was, I think it was Fort Johnson Road.
Fort Johnson Road, yes.
So what did you do there, and how much? Well, first you did the design.
Yes.
And then another contractor was hired to do the actual work?
To do the actual installation of the bike path there.
Is it very hard to design a sidewalk?
Well, it really depends on the area that you're designing it in. You think about it, say, oh, it's just a sidewalk. Well, there's a lot that goes into it. You have to go permitting. You have to survey. First get a surveyor out there to survey the area and to find out what's actually located in the area, what other utilities are there. You have to be aware of the landscape, the trees. When it comes to grand trees, not having to being able to avoid trees.
Well, there are a lot of people in Charleston County that do not like you to bother the grand trees.
Yes, and that is true.
And so you've got to go around that tree?
Majority of the time we do, depending on what type of tree it is. And we try to avoid just to maintain the actual landscape on most of the parts.
So I'm assuming that the work that you do then is to take a piece of paper and just draw little blocks and have them connect.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Just a little line.
Yeah, just little lines,
draw a line. Yeah. I mean, it sounds simple.
No measurements or anything like that.
Yeah. It sounds simple, but there's you really do get into your measurements. When what kind of curves you're going to have into it, the width of the actual sidewalk, and then there's drainage that's also entailed. You don't want to go in there and construct something that then you disturb the natural drainage that's there. So you have to be aware of what the drainage and what permitting you're going to have to do.
I'm glad you brought that up, because that's a big part of road building.
Yes.
And that is the environment and respecting the environment, and where one needs contractor like you or contractor that's building a bridge or road or whatever, where one needs to, one will have to mitigate.
Yes.
And you're going to have to figure out some way either to give back that land that you've used.
Yes.
Not literally that land, but something in its place.
Yes.
And then go through with it.
Exactly. Again, and you're right. The environment plays a major role in it. Being in a low-lying area here in Charleston, there's a lot of wetlands in the area. We try to avoid it as much as possible, but there are some circumstances where you end up getting into the wetlands area, but at that same time, when you do that, you've got to be conscientious of how you're affecting that wetlands. And there may be instances, like you said, where you replace it through either land or actually through a land bank.
Can you just draw up or create on paper a sidewalk project and then give it to a contractor and say, now build it? Or someone gives it to a contractor and says, now build it. Is it more to it than that? Or do you have to go through a series of committees or federal agents?
Yes.
Or how do you get it to happen?
Yeah, I think the major part of designing and getting it to the point to where it's constructible, there are regulations that we have to follow. There are guidelines that the state has. There are guidelines that the local municipality has. There's some federal guidelines that we have to follow. So every project that we do, there is a permitting process that we have to go through. And sometimes we have to hire other consultants to actually help us with some of the permitting because they get involved with, again, with wetlands in the environment, river crossings. So there's a lot of regulations involved that we have to make sure that we adhere to in all of our designs.
Because the government's watching you.
Yes,
And the contractor that's going to be involved is watching you.
exactly.
And there are other folks that are watching you as well.
Exactly.
How did you learn to do this again? Did you go to school?
I did. I have a civil engineering degree from the Citadel.
Wow. I think that's pretty good, huh?
Yes.
That's quite an accomplishment.
Yes, thank you.
And now you're in your own office. You're getting ready to set up another office.
Yes.
And apparently you're making nice money. We won't go into all that.
Okay.
But I'm going to assume that.
Yes.
And you have a partnership.
I do.
And you've been at this for, what, years and years and years beyond what the county has been doing.
Yes, 7 years. Hmm.
How does it feel?
It feels great. It feels great to have your own, to know that when you go in there and you provide a service that you're taking care of yourself, you're taking care of your family, and to see the finished product, and be able to ride down the road and tell your children, hey, that was the project that I worked on. It's a gratifying feeling that it's kind of unexplainable, but
Yeah.
it's.
Is your area primarily sidewalks?
No, we do commercial site design for subdivisions, residential subdivisions. We've done, again, road projects. So it's a multitude. I usually say anything 5 foot outside of a building, we usually design the horizontal portion of it.
And now the contractor, will the contractor be given your set of plans once they've been approved and you've been paid for that by the county? Do they just automatically accept the plan that you've put together, or do you have to confer with them at some point so that they'll understand what it is you've drawn, or is that necessary?
Typically, once the contractor gets the plans, before they get the plans, it's usually a bid process that they go through. They have an opportunity to ask questions concerning the design. And after they present their questions to us, we address them either with an addendum that says, hey, we're going to correct this, or most of the time it's just a clarification of how we were really trying to design it.
And that's about it. That kind of a conversation, then you go on and
Yes.
do you show up periodically? Or?
We do inspections periodically throughout the process, and it really depends on how in depth the owner wants us to be involved. Most of the road watch projects, we have folks that are certified inspectors that go out and actually work with the contractor or just oversee what they're doing. So we do a quality control check.
I think there are construction engineers and inspection that takes place as well.
Yes.
And so you go through people like that who come out and check your work and
Yes.
or check the work of
Check
the
the work of the
contractor,
contractor.
and then maybe compare it to the plans that you've developed.
Right.
So are you going any further than that? Are you going to do mostly projects of this kind? Or are you thinking on taking on Ravenel Bridge or something like that eventually?
Oh, I would love to. With the capacity, yeah. But I think that project of that size right now, we're going to have to team with a larger firm to go after.
Okay, someday though.
Yeah, someday.
We'll be right back with more information in our chat with Adrian, and he'll tell us where he's going to go from here.
Hey, Charleston County, let's recycle. Charleston County makes it easy. Recycling glass, aluminum cans, steel and aerosol cans, plastics 1 to 7. We recycle them all. And don't forget paper. If it tears, recycle it. Even cardboard. Recycle at work, at home, and at play.